So come to standing, feet hip width apart. Just take a moment to ground yourself by lifting your toes and then placing them down mindfully, so you'll stretch your toes out a little bit. Press your feet into the earth. That will give you a lift to rise upwards. Just open your palms outwards and then very gently raise your hands up in a circle, clasp and reverse, stretch up and press your feet into the ground. Then breathing out, lean to the left side, chin tucks in, breathing in, come to the center, and breathing out, go to your right side. Come to the center, breathing out, turn slightly to your left, breathe into the center, and breathing out, carry on as you turn to your left. Come to the center. Just test your balance by lifting your heels and then breathing out, lower your heels back to the ground. Release your hands to shoulder height so that your arms are out like a T, and breathing out, turn your head to the left. Breathing in, come back to the center, and breathing out, turn your head to the right, and then come back to the center. And then lower your arms back down alongside you as you lift and roll your shoulders back. Clasp your hands behind you, aim the knuckles towards the ground, and lift your chest up, so you'll be opening your shoulders and opening the meridians, the lung meridians that run down through where your shoulder connects to your torso. And then lift your arms a millimetre or two away from your back or your bottom and move, turn your entire body to the left, come to the centre and turn your entire body to the right. Come to the centre. Soften your knees and bend forward optionally. Your hands will go up behind you. Only lift your hands when your head is dropped down. Press your feet into the ground to bring yourself up. Separate your palms and slide your hands down the front of your thighs, down to your shins. Press your hands into your shins so that you lengthen your spine from the tailbone to the top of the head. Breathe out, soften your knees and soften your elbows. And then breathe in as you press your feet down and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing again. Breathing in, turn your head to the left. Breathing out, turn your head to the right. In as you turn your head to the left, and out as you turn your head to the right. And repeat that a couple of times in your own breath pattern. And then come back to the center. And then come to standing with your feet hip width apart. Press your feet into the ground again. And bring your hands to your heart center and in Anjalini Mudra. Breathing in, circle your hands up so that the palms meet above your head. Breathing out, bring your palms through the center of your body, back to the heart center, and then carry on, bending your knees to either touch the ground with your fingers or touch your shins. Breathing in, lengthen your spine from the tailbone to the top of the head. Breathing out, soften your knees, soften your elbows. And then press your feet down as you roll up, breathing in vertebra by vertebra to standing. And carry on as you raise your hands up above your head, stretch your fingers. and breathing out, lower your hands back down alongside you. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, bring your hands to your Anjalini Mudra, hands at the heart. Circle your hands as you raise your hands up so as the palms meet at the top of your head. And then breathing out, soften your knees as you bring your palms through the heart center, coming down so that your hands touch the ground or your shins. Breathing in, lengthen your spine from tailbone all the way through to the top of your head. Breathe out as you soften your knees and soften your elbows. And then as you press your feet down, roll up to standing. Hands above your head, stretch your fingers, and then breathing out, lower your hands back down alongside you. Lift and roll your left shoulder back and down. Lift and roll your right shoulder back and down. Lift and roll forward your left shoulder and down. Lift and roll forward your right shoulder and come down. And then reset your pose by lifting and rolling your left shoulder back and lifting and rolling your right shoulder back. Bring your hands to your heart and then come to gently bend your knees, and we're going to come onto the mat in an extended wide leg child's pose. So if you need a cushion or anything to soften this, then please take that. Your big toes come together and your knees are wider apart. And then you bring your bottom towards your heels. Again, if that's too much for you, don't bring your bottom quite so far back, and stretch your hands out in front of you. There are so many modifications of this. You can slide your hands in and rest one fist on top of the other so that your forehead rests on your two fists, and that keeps your spine parallel to the ground and your heart parallel to the ground. But you choose classic extended child's poses, bringing your hands forward on the mat. And just take a couple of breaths here and feel your lower back stretching out and releasing. Any forward bend is very helpful to calm the nervous system. Your chin is naturally tucking in towards your chest here, and that activates the vagus nerve, which is a bundle of nerves. They're far-reaching, but effectively it's believed to quell inflammation if you activate the vagus nerve. Take one more breath as you feel the back of your ribs expand. And then gently come to slide your hands back and come to a tabletop position. So hands shoulder width apart and knees hip width apart. And just sway your bottom from left to right, right to left. You can make a U with your bottom up to the right and then U backwards up to the left. Just beginning a very gentle movement. And then settle in the center. And classically, cat-cow, breathe in, dip your back, looking either up or along the mat. And start your breath as you round your back. Your chin comes to your chest in cow. Again, repeat this a few times to your own breath sequence. Cat is dipping your back as you breathe in, and then cow is rounding your back as you breathe out. And this has the effect of beginning to warm up the spine. And of course, the spine is connected to so much, everything really. If you would seek health, look first to the spine. So just carry on, cat-cow. And then when you're next in cat, so dipping your back bottom up, stay there for a moment. And just softly bend your elbows and then extend them. And as you do that, perhaps again, it's a subtle, tiny kink in your elbow and then come back to normal. You'll feel your abdominal muscles tighten slightly. And then doing nothing at all, just tense your perineum and release. Tense and release. And tense and release. You can do this a few more times. This strange exercise activates your internal muscles, your tones your inner muscles, and somehow in this position it's easier to access. And then from here, come to stretch your right leg back. Your toes are tucked under, so you're opening your lung meridians underneath your right foot, and your heel is stretched upwards to the ceiling. And just explore coming slightly forwards and back on your toes, with your toes tucked under. And then bring your right foot to cross over your left foot, so that you're in a slight stretch. You're going to feel the stretch on your right side. Then optionally you can look over your left shoulder towards your left. You can look over your left shoulder towards your right foot and feel the stretch on your right side. And then just very gently come back to tabletop again. And this time bring your hands to the left to slide your right foot up so that you're in a low lunge, bringing your hands back either side of your front right foot. And just enjoy stretching out here. Your knee can go beyond the 90 degrees exceptionally because your hands are supporting your upper body weight, so there's no strain on your knee here. But before we make any further movement, you do need to bring your knee back to that 90-degree angle, and you can walk your hands up your right shin and carry on walking up your right shin so that you're kneeling upwards. And then breathing in, raise your hands up, stretch your fingers. You either look forward, or if your balance is very good, you can look upwards. Bring your eyes back to looking forward, and then come back again so that your left hand is on the floor next to your right foot, and your right hand comes into your right waist, resting on your right waist. And then think about just bringing your hands to pull your right waist slightly back, which will open you out to the side. You can stay here, opening out your right shoulder. You can optionally lift your right arm up into a twist, and then with your hand either up or on your waist still, the next option, and it is an option, is to tuck your left toes underneath you, lift your left knee so that your left leg is straight, and then turn to the right, either hand up or hand on your waist. And then gently bend both knees, come back down to the earth, and slide your right leg back so that you're kneeling in tabletop again. Just sway gently from side to side. And then tuck your toes, tummy in, perineum engages, and you come to your very, very first soft downward dog. Keep your knees bent, lengthened from your tailbone to your head. Your bottom goes up high. When you feel that you've lengthened your spine, you can then begin to straighten your legs and you can adjust your feet as you walk the dog. More bending one knee and then bending the other knee. Now you can sway your hips from side to side as you still walk the dog. Relaxing your neck. To check that you're relaxing your neck, you can just gently move it from side to side and up and down. Push back into downward dog and then bend both knees to come back down to the earth in tabletop. And then walk your hands forwards as you come to lying on your stomach. Keep your hands where they are, you're looking down. And then press your hands down as you slightly lift up your head, shoulders back. It's a mini cobra. And then release your head back down to the floor. Your elbows are still up. Hands, palms down on the mat beside you. And then press onto your hands, elbows in, as you come back up to kneeling and into tabletop again. Just sway your hips from side to side. And now we come to thinking about the left side. As you slide your left leg back, tucking your left toes under, your left leg is off the mat, and then cross your left leg over your right foot so that you feel the stretch in your left side. And you could optionally turn to look over your right shoulder at your left foot. And then very gently release that and come back to tabletop. And then move your hands to the right to slide your left leg up, hands either side of your left foot, and just enjoy coming slightly forward to stretch out your hips. And then come back to your left leg being in a 90-degree angle. Walk your hands up your left leg to come to kneeling. And then kneeling up, raise your hands up above you. Stretch your fingers as your thumbs are facing behind you, your little fingers in front. You can stay looking forward or you can look up. Enjoy the stretch. And then coming back to hands, you're setting your right hand to the floor. Your left hand comes to your waist, which opens you out to the side, and feel the opening in your left shoulder. And so you can stay here. You can raise your left hand up, chin in, looking forward or up. You can, either with your hand up or down, tuck your right toes under and lift up into a reclined twist, I said, with your hands either on your waist or up. And then very gently bring your left hand down to the ground as well. Bend both knees. Your right knee comes back to the earth. Your left foot slides back into tabletop. And then very gently take your pose as you come into our second downward dog. Bending the knees, bottom goes high, and then once you're up, your heels of course don't have to touch the ground. You can walk the dog by bending one knee and then the other, and your hips can sway from side to side. And then bend both knees, come back down to tabletop, and carry on walking your hands forward to come to the ground into what's going to be a mini cobra. So lie on your tummy, hands are by your chest, elbows up, press your hands down, and subtly just lift your head looking at the floor. You're only going to be lifting a few inches, and then breathing out, release your head back to the floor. press your hands down into the mat, elbows in again as you come back to kneeling. And then this time, from kneeling, we come to roll up vertebra by vertebra, tucking our toes to standing. Rolling up, taking your time, keeping your knees bent, walk your hands back and just roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And lift and roll your shoulders. Just take a moment to have a supported tree, so standing on your left leg, open your right knee out. You can have your right foot against your leg, you can have it resting toes on the floor, and take the hand position that you feel good with, so either hands at the heart, or for those of you who are super balanced, you can have your hands up like a tree. So while you're balancing there, you can just be aware that tree and balance, apart from being good for your balance, is good for your brain function. And then breathing out, because it balances left and right brain hemispheres, lower your hands. And lift and roll your shoulders as you transfer your weight to your right foot, and just then reverse your tree. And taking your hands either at the heart or up, okay, according to your balance. And then very gently, when you're ready, come back, hands down beside you, feet hip-width apart. Bring your hands together once more at the heart center, Angelina Mudra. You might want your feet fractionally wider than hip-width apart as you bend your knees and come into a chair pose. Now then, you can actually rest your elbows on your thighs, or make it harder for yourself and just press your palms very tightly together. And then pressing your feet down, you'll notice your tummy or abdominal muscles engaged to support you as you come up. And then just release your hands. So I'm going to come to the top of the mat, or turn to face the top of the mat, and come into Warrior One. So lift and roll your shoulders, step your right foot forward. If your balance is wobbling, then move your right foot out towards the edge of the mat, and the back left foot comes to an angle of about 45 degrees. In Warrior One, classically, you would keep your back left foot grounded, but then it becomes quite difficult to turn and raise your hands. So there is a modification that's allowed for those who like it to lift your back heel. I'm not a fan of that because my balance always wobbles, which possibly says a lot about me. But anyway, choose which you want and gently raise your hands up into Warrior One. So bending your front right knee and just take an in and an out breath. And then lower your hands to your waist and see if you prefer that version or modification of Warrior One. And then come to bring your left back foot down on the ground if you've had it, or not if you've had it up, and step your right foot back. Lift and roll your shoulders. And then step forward with your left foot. So classically you would step forward a lot, a big step. I'm doing quite a gentle step. Feel that you can move your left foot out towards the edge of the mat and choose whether you have your back right heel up or down. If it's down, it's at a slight angle to support your weight. Soften your front left knee as you breathe in and raise your hands. The purpose of warriors are they're very grounding. They're very good for osteoporosis because they're weight bearing, but they're very good if you're lifting up from your chest. They're good, very good for anti-depression, which we might all need at this time. And then breathing out, lower your hands onto your waist. And you'll find here that you can bring your elbows back towards one another so it opens your chest even more. Somehow, with your hands on your waist, it might give you a better warrior, if that makes sense. And then breathing out, step your left foot back, lower and release your hands, and lift and roll your shoulders. And then breathing in, raise your hands up, touch your palms to the centre, and then swan dive your hands, palms through the centre as you bend your knees. Your hands will touch, your fingers will touch the ground. Breathing in, lengthen your spine from tailbone to the top of the head, and breathing out, bending your knees, pressing your feet down, and rolling up vertebra by vertebra. And once more, hands up, touching palms together. Bring your palms through the centre of your body, bending your knees, bringing the palms once more to the ground. Inhaling, lengthening from tailbone to the top of the head, and breathing out, soften your knees, press your feet down and roll up to standing. Lift and roll your shoulders. Turn towards the top of your mat again and step your right foot out as we did with Warrior One. Back foot the same. And you've always got the option to have your right front foot out towards the edge of the mat. So this, you can place your hands on your waist, press your feet down to lengthen your spine, and breathing out, soften your front right knee as you lean forward. So it's like a flying warrior. Keeping the length in your spine, press your front right foot down, your back foot presses down as you come up. And you can repeat that again, but this time, instead of, you can either keep your hands on your waist, or as you soften and come forward, your hands can go out behind you with your palms up, so it's almost like you're flying, shoulders away from the ears, and then press your feet down to support you as you come up. And then the final option is to have your hands behind you in prayer. If you don't like this, then hold your wrists or go back to one of the other options. So palms of the hands together behind you in reverse prayer. And then finally, for the third time, come forward over your front right knee. You'll kind of come just to the inside of your right knee, and then press your feet down, coming up. And then release your hands. That reverse palm opens meridians that we often miss out. And then step back, and we're going to do the same on the other side as we bring our front left foot forward, right foot back, hands on the waist, breathe in, lengthen, tummy in, perineum engages. As you're breathing out, soften your front left knee and come forward. Your head is parallel to the ground so that you're lengthening your spine. Press your foot down as you come up. Optionally, is next time as you breathe out, soften your knee, palms go upwards behind you, sort of like a flying warrior. And then press your feet down as you lift up. And then finally, option to reverse prayer. If this doesn't work for you, then hold your wrists. And then breathing out to come forward. And then come back up again. Release your hands, just shake them out. Step your left foot back. And just circle your wrists a couple of times in one direction. And circle your wrists a couple of times in the other direction. Open your fingers, for if you've been working on the computer or painting, and clench them. Open and clench, and open and clench. And then for anyone who's got arthritis, and particularly wants to emphasise that, take your one hand, I'm taking my right hand, and I'm just gently putting it over my left thumb, and just pulling left thumb, and pulling my second left finger, third finger, fourth finger, and little finger, and shaking my left hand out. Now I'm taking my left hand, and just holding, curling my fingers over my right thumb, just pulling slightly my right thumb, pulling my second finger, third finger, fourth finger and little finger, and then just shaking my hands. Hands together at the heart centre and roll down to puppy stretch. So for puppy stretch, that's slightly different. You keep your hips high, so you're in tabletop, hips high, so that from your hips to your knees is a straight line, bottom high, and then just walk your hands forward so that you are stretching your hands out, your bottom goes back, and you'll feel this stretch in your upper back, the sort of thoracic area. Your head might rest on the ground. You're just stretching your back slightly further up. And then slide forward totally onto your tummy. We're going to come to Sphinx pose, which is a softer version of Cobra. So your elbows are in front of you, elbows to hands on the floor. And just take a couple of breaths, looking down at the mat. So the further your elbows are away from you, the softer the angle on your lower back. This is a restorative pose. So in restorative yoga, you might stay here for a few minutes, several breaths. You can press your elbows into the ground and then pull yourself a millimetre towards your hands and then just release. And that will create space at your abdominal level. And then very gently come to widen your elbows, rest your head on your hands, one on top of the other, widen your knees, and just this time kick your feet towards your bottom, slightly different from swaying side to side. Your feet might not go to your bottom, but this action of movement is very connected to the second chakra, which might mean nothing to you, but it's particularly good for addiction and addictive behaviour, both work or drink or alcohol, same thing, drugs, addictive behaviour of any sort. So the classic yoga pose for this is to come into a half shoulder stand and just kick your heels towards your bottom, but we're doing it the other way around. If you do it in half shoulder stand and kick your heels towards your bottom, you'll run out of breath very quickly, it's exhausting. And then just release your feet back down again. Come to bring your elbows in, come to press on your hands, and we're going to come to lie on our backs in a form of modified bridge. So take your time to kneel up. The bottom might like to go to one side or the other, and then come very gradually to lie on our backs. Knees are up towards the ceiling, feet are hip width apart. Just to make any adjustment in this position, you would press your feet down, lift your bottom, and then just set your bottom down in a straight line. Here, just check that your back of your neck is slightly long. In other words, you're not crunching up in your neck. And just have your palms down as you gently sway your knees in the same direction from side to side, lifting your hips off the ground. So this becomes a windscreen shield wiper movement. And you can join in with your head and neck. So as the knees go to one direction, your head can turn away from your knees and come back to the centre. And then your knees go towards the other direction and your head turns away from your knees again. And just carry on a couple of times in your own timing. And then just bring your feet, your heels in towards your bottom. In an ideal world, you should be able to just touch the backs of your heels with the tips of your fingers, but that is an ideal world. Just the general principle gives you a kind of guide. And then pressing your feet down, lift your bottom and lift your elbows bent, raising your arms above you. Your chin should automatically tuck towards your chest and you're in a very soft bridge, stretching your arms above your head as little or as much as you would like. And when you're ready, start to breathe out and then start to lower your back to the ground, vertebra by vertebra. Hands back down to the ground. Just recover here. And then when you're ready again, press your feet into the earth to lift your bottom up. Your arms can go up, bent at the elbows, chin tucks into the chest. Feel that your knees are tracking directly in front of you, not splaying out. And then breathing out, lower your back and arms vertebra by vertebra like a string of pearls back down to the earth. Hug one knee and then the other knee into the chest and rock both knees from side to side. Place the left foot on the ground, still hold the right knee in towards your chest, just hugging it in, and then drop your hands underneath your right thigh to support that leg as you lift your right leg gently up towards the ceiling. And here, you keep a bend in your knee. Here, extend your heel and point your toes a couple of times. And then start to circle your ankle in one direction. And then start to circle your ankle in the other direction. And stretch your toes out and then just relax them. And stretch them out again and relax them. For those of you who want an additional abdominal toner, you can start to walk your hands up the back of your right leg, bringing the right leg towards you. And there'll come a point where you can either lift your head off the ground towards your right leg with holding your leg with both hands, or if your neck's stiff, place a hand, I'm placing my right hand underneath my head to support my neck as I lift up my head towards my right leg. And then breathing out, release your head back down to the ground. And then hug your right knee into your chest. Open your right knee to the side and place your right ankle on top of your left leg. Your hands can either be resting palms down on the floor or they can be resting on your abdomen. And just sway both knees from side to side. Your hip will lift off the floor slightly as you do this. And then support your right leg as you take your right ankle off that left thigh. Place your right foot on the ground. Sway your knees from side to side. Keep your right foot now where it is and hug your left knee into your chest. Just enjoy that hugging in of the left knee into the chest. Apana. It's a variation of Apanasana or leg to knee pose. And it works on the downward Apana energy, releasing everything, tension, letting go. And then dropping your hands underneath your left thigh to support it as you raise your left leg to the ceiling. Extend your left heel, and now point your toes, extend your heel, point your toes, and extend your heel, point your toes. And then circle your left ankle a few times in one direction. And then circle your left ankle a few times in the other direction. Stretch your toes out and relax them. And stretch your toes out and relax them. And then start to walk your hands up the back of your left leg. And when they naturally stop, you can either stay here, or if you want to engage your abdominal muscles, slightly engage your perineum, slightly bring your lower abdomen in towards the spine, which you do naturally here. And either lift your head up, holding your left leg with both hands, or if you're slightly need support, drop a hand to support your neck and head. And then breathing out, release and relax your head back down to the ground. Hug your left knee into your chest once more. And then open your left knee to the left, placing the left ankle on top of the right thigh. Hands are either on your abdomen or on the floor. And just gently rock both knees from side to side. And then unravel that left leg, taking it off the right thigh, and hug now both knees into the chest. You can either rock from side to side, or you might prefer to hug in to your chest, and then still holding your knees, let them just slightly travel away from you towards arm's length. Just take a couple of breaths doing what you feel works best for you. And then gently slide your hands down the front of your shins to above your ankles. Your soles of your feet aim, they won't touch each other, but your big toe joints might aim towards each other, and you're doing a supine form of Baddha Konasana, so it opens your inner groin, basically. We've worked on opening under our arms, and so the inner groin is part of our, you're looking at your lower limb system here. And just take a breath in and out. And while you're here, you can just stay here. Or for anybody who wants to explore further, you can hold your big toes or hold onto your shins and open your legs out into a V. Your knees can be bent, or you might feel that you can go into a proper V as your soles of your feet go upwards towards the ceiling. And once you're up here, knees bent or not, wherever you are, you can just rock gently. It's almost like a modified happy baby, but you can stretch your legs right out to your inner goddess. You can just rock slightly from side to side. So here, of course, the blood's kind of coming back towards us. It's quite nice to rock. As you rock, the back of your head is being massaged, mine is, and there are 4 major acupressure points on the back of the head, and we're kind of touching in to those. So you're giving your head a massage while you're there. And then release that, hugging the knees into the chest once more. Just enjoying that knee to chest Apanasana sensation. And then supporting your legs as you place one foot and then the other back down onto the earth. You can stay with your knees up towards the ceiling, maybe knees touching, feet out a little bit, that's called constructive rest. Or you can come into full Shavasana, just relaxing, opening the palms up to the ceiling. Wherever you are, bring your focus to your feet and just mentally, you can physically do this, clench your feet and release. Tense your knees and release. Tense your bottom and release. Physically lift your chest fractionally from the ground and then replace. Come back to the mat. Tense your arms and hands, release. Lift your shoulders up and then place them down. And roll your head gently from side to side. And just think of your physical body that you can see, but there are other parts of your body that your electromagnetic field, your emotional body, your thought body, your mind, And just have a sense of all those bodies releasing and relaxing. And as you take your next breath in, imagine putting into that breath as it comes in, all positive things are coming in, and as you breathe out, put into that breath, that exhalation, anything you don't want. Any thoughts, any nibbles or pains, anything negative. And as you breathe it out to the edge of your body. And now breathe in again, and breathe in lots of positivity and lovely things. And as you breathe out this time, push that negative, anything you don't want today, aches or pains, to the edge of the world. And now as you take another positive breath in, swirling in lots of health and happiness and positivity, breathe out again, finally putting into that breath anything you don't want today, it's not serving you. This time out to the edge of the universe. And take a moment now to mentally set your intention for the day, your wish for the day. And then just mentally, for those of you who are very visual, take a colour and wrap yourself like a cocoon, back and front, top and bottom, in your cocoon of colour, conferring protection for the rest of the day. Only allowing positive things in. And then you can either stay here, just relaxing, or for those of you who want to join, to move whatever you need to move, fingers and toes maybe, moving your head maybe from side to side. Perhaps bending your knees, and maybe bending them into your chest. Really do take your time to come to a seated position, very briefly, and bring both hands to the heart as you bow your chin towards your chest. To have a lovely day ahead, and thank you very much everyone for joining me.